Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcus Aurelius, and this is Dwarf Fortress Anvilquested. And I was just moving things along a little bit, doing some playing, and this is what happened. The were-elephant, Dazla Kurathran, Nomar Boldomamwad, has come, an enormous elephant twisted into humanoid form. It is crazed for blood and flesh. Its eyes glow scarlet. Its brown hair is long and straight. Now you will know why you fear the night, even though it's daytime. So, here's the problem. The game kind of bugged out. The only reason I even knew this person was here is because I heard the noise that Sound Sense plays when dwarves are fighting. He attacked one of the merchant's dwarves here, and that's how I knew he was here. I heard the sound and he got killed. And meanwhile, this pool of blood was just forming and moving toward my fortress. It was really eerie. I was like, what the hell's going on? I went in the units tab. I couldn't see this guy. And I think the reason why is one of my dwarves has to see him, or he has to at least get within sight of the fortress before we know he's there. So even though I knew he was there because I saw him fighting the dwarf, well, I couldn't see him, but I understood he was fighting the dwarf because the dwarf was getting killed by something called a were-elephant. But now he showed up. So, we have to deal with that. So I have set my fort, I've created an alert. An alert is basically just a command whereby all of your dwarves go to a burrow. I've created a burrow. For those of you who don't know, a burrow, it's called Danger, and you can look at it. I thought. Why are you not showing my burrow? I had really thought I created a burrow. What the hell? Oh, there we go. Danger. My burrow is Danger. And it goes all the way down. And it basically just is my entire fort except for the surface. And so in my military tab... Oh, by the way, I've created a military squad too. Gordosh is the militia captain and Bumchafe is next. They're both Marks dwarves, but I don't have bows for them. So I'm working on that. But right now they're just soldiers, so just hanging out. The reason I did this is because I looked at Dwarf Therapist and they both had Mark's Dwarf ability, luckily enough. We also have a number of dwarves who have melee military abilities, so maybe later on, when necessary, we can convert them over. Not right now, though, because I need peasants. But yeah, they're the Hazy Seals, which I'll come up with a better name for that. But, so anyways, alerts. So we have this danger alert, which the civilians are on, which means they're all going to run to the best of their ability into my fort, and I've already pulled the drawbridge, so I don't think anyone's outside. If they are, we're in trouble. Obviously our animals are gonna die, unfortunately. I'm most worried about Carol Nossimbil, because he's named, which means his owner's gonna get pissed, but I can fix that by removing bad thoughts. I just thought you should know. So we still have, though, some dwarf, well, we have one dwarf warrior from the caravan. Zan Virithel, Hammer Dwarf. Let's see how he does. Let's see what else can I tell you. I'm a little disappointed because I don't think this happened in previous versions of Dwarf Fortress, but I always thought when you placed a stockpile, even if there was something in the way of the stockpile, like a boulder, it would still place a stockpile, but apparently in this version it does not. So you'll notice there's some parts here without stockpile. That's because there was a boulder on them, and now the boulder is gone. So what sucks is once all these boulders are gone, which is inconvenient to wait for, I'm going to have to destroy the stockpile and recreate it. The same thing happened here and here. So I'm really annoyed about that. In the previous version it didn't do that, but now it does, and that really upsets me. I've also got my metal set up here. I have 2 smelters. You could see them here and here, and I'm going to build my metalsmith's forge here. Wood burner here to make charcoal. Jeweler's workshop, leather workshop here. So cutting gems, doing leather, and then I'll build another jeweler's workshop up here. Let me quickly show you our guys. Oh yeah, we had some new arrivals that I have to introduce you to as well. Let me do it by migration wave. So we have Bloodrune, Catnip, Edmus, Micus, and Yosarian. I'm a little weirded out by Yosarian because you'll notice everybody either has a blue male gender symbol or a pink female gender symbol. Well, Yosarian has a white male gender symbol. which I've done a web search. I couldn't find any rationale for that or why that is, why it's not blue. But it's white, which is very strange. Maybe that means he's a werebeast. I don't know. But anyways, Bloodrune is a gentleman. Micus and Yossarian, apparently, is a gentleman. Edmus and Catnip are females, as are Bumchafes, Gordosh, Matheos, Dikyasune, Katarina. Looks like Tokshin's a female, but we won't tell him that. And Ursula. Surreal Beliefs, Marcus, Daz, Arkil, Azrael, Camos, House, Ray Joseph, Bloodrune, and Micus are all, and Yossarian are all male. Okay, so I've created some professions. There's Jeweler, which is it's not a custom profession, but I just call him that. It's Micus. He's going to be doing our gem cutting, and for the time being, gem encrusting. Matheos and Don are food service, or Daz, our food service. Right now, Katarina von Ulm is our only brewer and cook, and she's idle most of the time, so that's fine for now. I made House the animalist, because I turned Bumchafes and Gordosh into soldiers. So, Art Ghoul is my only miner, but I also, of course, still have Surreal Beliefs and Marcus Aurelius mining. And these guys are my current peasants. They don't have any great skill in really anything, but eventually I'll have to give them something. Like, if I don't get a clothier, one of these guys is going to have to be a clothier. One of them is going to have to be a blacksmith. You know, a lot of little things. But that's my guys. So now back to what's going on here. We're in a little bit of trouble. I wasn't expecting a were-elephant, but let's see if the caravan can take him out. Okay, wow. So, all bunch of crazy stuff happened, and Ray Joseph... No, Azrael. Azrael's is stuck. You weren't attacked, were you, Azrael? No, you're fine. You're fine. You're in good shape. Okay. Whew. Alright. But... Did they get him? I can't really tell here. Units? Apparently so. I don't know. Is he still around? No, he's still there. Damn it. We still have a Swords Dwarf running around. Where are you, Swords Dwarf? Oh, you're there. Okay, where's the were-elephant, though? Where are you, were-elephant? Let's try that one more time. Oh, wait, there he is. Alright, oh boy. Oh boy. Should I risk it all for Azith? No dwarf gets left behind. Oh, God help us. Alright, Azith is in. Okay. Come on, come on, come on. Yes, alright, we're safe. Ish. Alright. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Considering the were-elephant is the one fighting everybody, it'll probably give us the best idea if we just look at him. Wow, okay. So a lot has happened. First, he fights the Swords Dwarf. And really, they're kicking the crap out of it. I mean, the Swords Dwarf tears the muscle and fractures the skull. Then he tears apart the fat in the leg. Continues to do that. Meanwhile, the were-elephant can't even hit him. But then the were-elephant then blocks. So he's winning. He torn open an artery and a ligament and a tendon in the were-elephant's left lower arm. Then he stabs him in the leg. And then he slashes him in the leg. Let's see. He just does a whole bunch of damage to him. Keeps stabbing him. Kicks him. Slashes him. Tears apart the muscle. Another artery is opened. The were-elephant still hasn't done anything to him. He hit him, chipped the bone in the lower right arm. Okay, so then... When does the werebeast... Alright, so then the were-elephant becomes enraged after he's just being torn apart by the sword dwarf. I mean, this sword dwarf tearing apart ligaments and tendons and sensory nerves. Still hasn't hit him. Another sensory nerve has been severed. Okay, here's when things get bad. The were-elephant grabs the sword dwarf by the tongue with its right upper arm. So this were-elephant, this giant elephant man, grabs the dwarf's tongue with his right arm, throws the sword dwarf by his tongue. Okay, sword dwarf gets up, no problem. You've seen this kind of thing every day. Tears some more muscles, tears another sensory nerve. But then the were-elephant grabs him by the fourth toe of his right foot with its left lower leg. So he kind of... I don't know if he has the ability to grab with his leg or if he just trips him or what. But then he bites the sword dwarf in the right hand and the hand just flies off. So the sword dwarf has just been wailing on this elephant, hasn't been able to even touch him. But then he manages to basically bite off the dwarf's hand. And then he wrestles the sword dwarf to the ground by his fourth toe of his right foot. And he releases the grip. And then he bites the sword dwarf in the left foot. So at this point, an artery's open and the sword dwarf is on his way out. He keeps fighting though, he doesn't give up. But then the left foot is ripped away. So the were-elephant rips the left foot of the dwarf off. And keeps wrestling him for some reason. And then the were-elephant bends the sword dwarf's left upper leg with the were-elephant's left upper leg. A ligament in the left hip has been torn and a tendon has been torn. So the were-elephant lets the foot of Rigoth fall to the ground as it attacks. And finally, he bites the sword dwarf in the head. So he basically bites his head off. I'm sure you've heard the phrase at one point in time, "Oh my god, he bit my head off." Well, this actually happened to poor little Rigoth here. So he died. And that was the end of Rigoth. And then he decided to take out his aggression on a stray cat. He grabs at the cat, tearing it to pieces. Okay, then a hammer dwarf gets in. When did the cat... Oh yeah, the cat died. Okay. So yeah, he bites the cat in the left front leg and the severed part sails away in an arc. So the cat just got his leg bit off and he died. He didn't know what else to do. But then a hammer dwarf comes in, bashes the were-elephant in the left foot. Silver warhammers are really good warhammers. Fracturing the bone of his foot. So he fights on and off with the hammer dwarf. Same story. The hammer dwarf is just kicking the crap out of him, fracturing bones, bruising muscles, bruising fat. Until finally, the were-elephant latches on firmly on the merchant. What happened to the hammer dwarf? Nothing, I guess. He's just attacking the merchant for the hell of it. And he shakes the merchant around by the left upper arm, and the severed part sails off in an arc. So he basically grabs the merchant by his arm, lifts him up in the air, shakes him around, tearing his arm off. So the merchant's torso just goes flying off. Oh, man. Okay. And then he puts the left upper arm down to keep going. This is nuts. And then he wrestles the guys a bit more. It looks like he bites the merchant in the right lower arm, and the severed part sails off in an arc. So now the merchant, I believe, does not have arms anymore. Then he bites the merchant in the upper body, tearing apart the muscle and shattering the right floating ribs through the cave spider silk robe. Whew. And shakes the merchant. So he's bit the merchant's torso. The merchant has no arms anymore, and he's just shaking him around, like when a dog bites something. Tearing apart the upper body's muscle. The merchant's pretty much screwed at this point. His arteries are torn, blood's going everywhere. The hammer dwarf is still attacking, best he can. Then he kicks the were-elephant in the head, the hammer dwarf does, with his right foot. And the were-elephant says, "Death is all around us. This is truly horrifying." What an interesting moment of clarity by the were-elephant. Still fighting the hammer dwarf. The merchant died. He's wrestling the hammer dwarf. The were-elephant bends the hammer dwarf's left foot with the were-elephant's left lower leg, and the left ankle collapses. A ligament in the left ankle has been torn, so the hammer dwarf is not in good shape anymore. Then again, he says death is all around us. That seems to be his little mantra. And then the were-elephant grabs the sword dwarf by the third finger left hand with its left lower leg. And that's where we are. So, okay. There we go. So here comes another warrior dwarf and a merchant. Wait, what? Is he dead? Yes, he's dead. What did he bleed out? I mean, what happened? The sword dwarf. Yeah, no, he died, definitely. The were-elephant, the hammer dwarf. Yep. Oh, so he bites the hammer dwarf in the head, too. So this were-elephant is incredibly good at biting off people's heads. So how did he die? The were-elephant misses the sword dwarf, and that's the last we see of him. So I guess he must have bled out. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure, if he's just lying there dead. What the hell are you? A Kia. Oh, I hate you, Kia. Okay, well, let's unforbid this stuff, since we could use some weapons and stuff, even though it's covered with blood. Now, the way I understand it, my dwarves can only become were-creatures if they are bitten by a were-creature. So simply walking on a were-creature's blood, which is everywhere, is not enough to do it. Oh, a silver warhammer. Yes, please. Okay. Wow. Sure, trousers, why not? Wow, this is nuts. A stray cat left front leg. I think I lost my cat, folks. Where'd the hammer dwarf go? Oh, I guess that must be him. Nuts. Alright, well, the threat has ended. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for the fortress. Wow, that was something else. Let's go back to inactive. Let's open up the gate. Rough times. Rough times for Anvilquested. Good thing the merchants were here to take care of it. And the only reason they did take care of it is because instead of going out the same way as the wagons, they decided to go out through our main gate. It cost them their lives, but they saved us. So, even though these dwarves are not ours, we unfortunately have to bury them. So, yeah. Let's start digging this out. Meanwhile, let's have Ursula put some coffins together. I think we need 3 of them, so let's cancel the doors. And coffin. Alright. So luckily none of our dwarves perished, but it was a very dangerous situation, and we're lucky to be alive. I think the wall was probably suspended. Let's take a look. No, just inactive. Yeah, alright, cool. But yeah, the bug really drove me crazy because it didn't even announce that the were-elephant was here until right here. So I was like, oh my god, is there an invisible were-elephant coming after us? I mean, if you're scared of a were-elephant, that's one thing, but an invisible were-elephant, now that is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. There's just blood everywhere. However, I do have the DF Hack plugin that cleans that stuff up every month. Wow, what a mess. Just were-elephant blood everywhere. I mean, he was... Let's take a look at him real quick before... How do I get to see his wounds? There we go. No, no, not Camos. I want the frickin' were-elephant. Can I look at him? Description? Well, I guess I can't. Once they die, you can't look at their wounds, unfortunately, but I'm sure he must be in pretty bad shape, one would assume. Well, okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a little special episode. I wasn't planning on recording it, but then we got attacked by a were-elephant, so, you know, stuff happens. I'm Marcus Aurelius. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.